I've just bought every single PlayStation 5 controller ever made, and today we're going to unbox them all. We've got every colour, every limited edition, country exclusives, and the rarest of them all that was never available to buy. But before we jump in, what's your favourite design from the PS5 lineup, and drop a like if you're a PlayStation gamer. Okay, so we're kicking today's video off with the very first controller released for the PS5, and that's the classic white DualSense. I'm sure that pretty much every single one of you has one of these, as it's the only controller that's included with every PlayStation 5 console. Not a whole lot to talk about really, other than this was quite the bold design when we first saw it 5 years ago, but now it's just the norm and it's the OG controller in the lineup. Next up, in June 2021, PlayStation rolled out the Galaxy Collections. That's 5 new colours split into 2 release dates. The first colour to launch was the all black or the midnight black controller, and this launched alongside the console covers, which meant for those of us who wanted the all black PS5 setup, we could finally do this without using the third-party options out there. Also, at the same time as the midnight black came the cosmic red, where the packaging for this was identical to the white and the black controllers, but this time it came in a nice red colour, although as you can see here is leaning more towards a pinkish hue than solid red. I'm not really sure what you would call this, maybe more of a magenta? PlayStation then went quiet for 6 months and then finished off the Galaxy range with 3 new colours. We got the Galactic Purple, which is my favourite colour from this range. It's got a nice flat matte purple finish to it, but under certain lighting conditions it can come across as looking quite blue. Oh, and something else worth mentioning is every single PS5 controller has these tiny PlayStation icons printed into the grip on the back. So if you pick up your PS5 controller now and take a look, you'll see it has these tiny icons built into it, which is a really nice touch. Then at the same time, we also got these 2 new colours. So the Nova Pink took it to a whole new level with just how bright and vibrant a controller can get. I mean, this could almost pass as being neon with just how colourful it is. And alongside the Nova Pink came the Starlight Blue. Again, this launched in January 2022 and it's just as bright as the pink one. 10 months later, in October 2022, PlayStation released the first camouflage controller, the grey camo DualSense. It's got that classic grey camo print and even has these tiny PlayStation symbols and icons printed into the design. It's also one of those controllers that you can quite easily lose in the setup depending on where you put it. Okay, then we're moving on to the limited edition, and this right here is the very first limited edition controllers made specifically for a game, and that was God of War Ragnarok. And instead of using the generic white controller box like the others, they took it up a level with a custom design on the box. But then inside we have the controller itself. So the first thing you'll notice is the 2-tone design of the controller. So instead of the bottom part being black like we've been used to, it is now white and the handles on the side are blue. So it's quite the bold colour combo, but I think this looks proper clean. It's then got a white touchpad with a print of a wolf and a bear, which represents both Kratos and Atreus. And then if we flip this over, it's got the God of War Ragnarok logo on the back. Then at the start of 2023, PlayStation released what can only now be described as the rarest controller of them all, the Play Has No Limits. So this is a controller that was given exclusively to employees who worked at PlayStation and was never made available for sale. In fact, even at the bottom of the box it states not to be sold. Now obviously I don't work for them and I was never sent one out, but I was able to buy one from an employee at an eye-watering price. And this isn't even the most expensive one that I bought today. But let me show you what this rare controller actually looks like. So it's a standard white DualSense controller with the usual black and white shell, but has these tiny PlayStation icons printed all over the handles and on the touchpad. And if you look really closely, you can see these faint lines sort of mapping all the icons together. And then if we turn this around, on the back it has the Play Has No Limits 2022 logo. But also inside the box, which a lot of people weren't aware it came with, there is a black stand with the 2022 text on it. This means if you did get one of these, you could display your controller in your setup or on your shelves, which is a really nice touch. Also at the start of 2023, in January, we had the first Pro controller for the PS5, the DualSense Edge. So this is essentially PlayStation's take on the Xbox Elite controller, where it looks and works like a normal DualSense, but it has added Pro features. So firstly, it comes with a hard carry case, which is a nice added bonus, but inside that, it has what looks like a standard controller with the black and the white design, but now has glossy parts and a black touchpad with these tiny PlayStation icons printed on it. But the main features of this controller include the adjustable triggers you can swap between instant and normal, and the 2 remappable back buttons which can be assigned to any other button on the controller. But it also has these removable thumbsticks on the front because, you know, when you get that stick drift you can just swap them straight out. Okay, then this is one for the Hogwarts fans, because Hogwarts Legacy got its very own limited edition controller with once again a whole custom box design complete with the Hogwarts logo. Now this one I believe only launched in the UK and the US, so depending on where in the world you are, you may never have seen this one before. So it's got a black controller with gold details throughout, including the Hogwarts castle on the touchpad, and these two prints on either handle. Now I actually think this is quite an understated look, but I do like the look of it. And then if we flip this around, on the back we have the Hogwarts Legacy logo. There was even a hidden print on this controller, which if you flip it up and look at the bottom, there is a gold wand printed on one of these handles. Okay, then if you buy a PSVR 2 headset, it comes with these two Sense controllers. Although it's not a standard DualSense, this is what you would use to interact with your VR games, as essentially it's a normal controller split into two. It's got all of the same buttons, including the triggers, buttons, PlayStation button, and the thumbsticks. The only difference here is it's designed specifically to be used in VR games. So again, although this is not a standard controller, I did want to include it in today's video. Then we had a Japan exclusive limited edition controller which I had to import for Final Fantasy 16. So we've got the Final Fantasy logo in the bottom corner and Japanese writing throughout the box, as again this only launched there. Now the sensible thing to have done would be to keep these rare controllers sealed and boxed up to keep their value, but then I couldn't really show you them today, so here we go. And here it is. So it's got quite an understated and clean design to it, which doesn't immediately scream Final Fantasy, but it's simple and clean. This design with the blue crystals is different to anything else that you'll see today, and I would say it has more of a mature, understated look. Okay, and this is probably one of the weirdest limited edition controllers that we've had, and this is the LeBron James edition. I mean, it's cool that he's got his own controller and all, and he's an incredible player, but I just don't get it. I totally understand controllers that are related to games, like an NBA controller would have made sense. Anyway, I've said this before, but it's a funky, over-the-top and busy design that you'll either love or hate. It's got crowns, loads of different colours, and lines of text throughout. I mean, it's got some powerful messaging, no doubt, and I'm sure the NBA fans will appreciate this, but if I had to rank them in order of which ones I liked to the ones that I don't, this would definitely be near the bottom. But then the same month we got one of the nicest designs, and that was for Spider-Man 2. Now the game itself didn't launch until October 2023, but we were able to buy this a few months early. So the box has this all red and black design with the Spider-Man 2 logo down in the corner, and it's got the Spider-Man icons on the side of the box too. Now I didn't open this one, as I did get one with the limited edition console. In fact, this is the only controller box I own that is still sealed. But yeah, this is a pretty cool design with the black controller on the left creeping towards the red side, kind of symbolising the symbiote taking over Spider-Man. It's got white buttons on the right side but black on the left, as well as the white Spider-Man logo right in the middle of the touchpad. Now I think this is a great design, and to be honest is one of my favourite game related controllers. Now I nearly didn't include this in today's video, as it's not really a controller, but we did get the PlayStation Portal in late 2023. This is the remote play gaming device that you can use to either stream your games from your PS5 or via cloud gaming if you're on PS Plus. Now what PlayStation did was take a normal controller and all of its features and split that controller into two and slap a screen bang in the middle. Now it looks and feels and acts like a normal controller, but instead of using your phone or your laptop paired with a DualSense, you can game straight from this device. It's certainly got better over the last 2 years with the various updates, but I'm still hoping that we get a dedicated handheld soon. Next, we have a new range of colours called the Deep Earth Collection, which was fitting because this is when they changed the sleeves inside the box to make it more environmentally friendly. So the first is called the Cobalt Blue, which gives us a really nice deep blue colour like nothing that we've had before, whereas this range has a metallic, kind of glittery finish instead. Now you should be able to see this as I'm moving it around under the light, but I think this is a really nice colour. And then alongside that blue controller, we got our first proper red controller, the Volcanic Red. Just like with the Cobalt Blue, it has this really deep, rich red colour that you don't get on the other colours. It's also a lot more red than what we got with the Cosmic Red. So if you wanted a true red controller, this is definitely the one to go for. Then to complete the Deep Earth collection was the Sterling Silver. This one didn't launch with the other two and dropped a couple of months later in January 2024. It's super clean though, with the same metallic look and finish, and if you move this around you can sort of see how it shimmers in the light. Now there is a chance that you've never seen one of these before because it's called the Access Controller. This is essentially a controller designed to help make gaming more accessible for anyone who needs it. It's got 30 different button configurations with rounded, curved and flat caps, different thumbsticks and a joystick. It means you're able to use the PS5 and play games without the need of only using a standard controller. Okay, then this one is the most expensive controller out of my entire collection, the Concord DualSense. Not only was it a limited edition controller exclusively available to buy in the US, but just weeks after launch, the game was delisted and pulled from the stores, making it one of the biggest flops and fails in gaming history. Now, firstly, it looks like they put more effort into the box design than the game. I joke. And interestingly, across the top, it has a totally different security seal to any of the other boxes. Now, I contemplated not opening this and keeping it sealed, but here we go. Okay, so as for the controller itself, here it is. Now, I'm not sure if it's because it's rare, it cost me the most, or it's from a game that none of us can no longer play. But I think this controller looks awesome. And then if we flip this around, we have the large Concord logo on the back. So yeah, this is a real shame because for a game that only sold 25,000 copies, the controller turned out pretty well. But then just a month later, we had one of PlayStation's best exclusive games, Astrobot, and we got a limited edition Astrobot controller to go with it. And as far as boxes go, this is a nice clean looking design. And this is also the first controller that has gone for a glossy finish on the handles rather than matte, with a two-tone white and blue design, and it has a full white design where the bottom part and thumbsticks are white as well. If you look at the buttons, these are white but have a subtle blue accent inside. And of course, there are these huge blue eyes on the touchpad itself. Now, if you look at the bottom part, you can also see that it has these lines which are actually indented into the plastic. This isn't just printed on. So it certainly feels like a lot of thought went into this design, which is great to see, especially considering it ended up winning Game of the Year in 2024. PlayStation then celebrated 30 years since the original PS1 launch by releasing a whole range of 30th anniversary accessories. The fact they designed all of the boxes to look like the original PlayStation packaging was something else. And when you open up the boxes, it has this print on the inside showing all of the PlayStation accessories that we've had over the years. Okay, let's start with the normal DualSense. So this is designed to look like a PlayStation 1 controller, the original DualShock. It's got this really nice matte grey finish where the touchpad and handles are light and the bottom is a darker grey, but it's also got these coloured icons on the controllers, which is what does it for me. And this is the first and only design to come with them on. There's even a retro PlayStation button instead of the usual solid black. But just like with every other PS5 controller, it does still have the icons printed into the grip. But this time it shows a number 3 before the circle to make it look like a 30. Then there's the DualSense Edge controller. So inside the box, it came with another grey box with the 30th anniversary logo on the top. And instead of the carry case being white, it's also grey with the retro logo. As for the controller, it's very similar to the other one with the light grey design. But this time it has a dark touchpad with the icons printed on here, again with the hidden 30 text in that print. It also has a glossy bottom part just like the other Edge controller, but otherwise it does everything that the standard Edge controller can do, with the adjustable triggers and the mappable rear buttons. And lastly, to complete the range of the 30th anniversary accessories was the PlayStation Portal. Just like with the other two, it has the same classic PS1 grey theme, and I think this looks really nice on the Portal. Although if I'm being totally honest, I think the all black design is probably the best overall, which I will show you later. In the same month though, we did get a new range of colours, the Chroma collection. The first was the Chroma Pearl, which is the only all-white looking controller that has no extra designs or prints on it at all. But as you move it around, you'll notice it kind of shimmers and changes colour very slightly, going from white to cream, even a bit of a pinkish tint. Now the back is also the same colour, whereas usually the back pieces are completely different on these controllers. Alongside that, we also got the Chroma Indigo. This has what looks like a deep blue finish to it again with that shimmer and almost oily looking finish. But when you move this one around, it changes from a deep blue to a nice vivid purple. I would actually go as far to say that it's kind of merging the colours between the galactic purple and the cobalt blue into this one single controller. And then to complete the Chroma collection of colours, we had the final piece, the Chroma Teal. In fact, this is the first and only green controller that we've had in the entire collection. And just like with the other two, it changes colour as you move it around, so depending on the angle and the light, it will look green, blue, and maybe even a hint of yellow in there too. And now, if you thought the LeBron James controller looked busy, well, you're in for a shock, because PlayStation then created a limited edition Fortnite controller in November 2024 that looked like this. So the base controller looks like a baby blue colour. In fact, this could even be the Starlight Blue. I mean, it's pretty close. I'm not sure if it's the exact same shade, but it's definitely close. And then this controller is absolutely covered in icons and text from the game. So we've got some text down here, defy the storm, GG. What else have we got? Okay, where are we dropping on the touchpad? There's even a crown over here. Yeah, this thing is covered. So if you're a Fortnite player, this will make a lot more sense to you than it does to me with all these slogans and icons. Next up was the Helldivers 2 Limited Edition controller. It comes in this black box with the Helldivers 2 branding, colours and images, but then inside we have the all black and yellow DualSense, which actually has quite a unique design. So not only is it designed to look like the metal armour from the game, but the way that it's printed, it actually looks distressed. So it's got this worn and scratched look to it, which is really cool. There's also the Helldivers skull in the middle of the touchpad and the logo around the back. So obviously this controller works on the PS5, but don't forget, if you are a PC player, all of these controllers will work on that as well. Okay, then another one that I had to import from Japan was this one, the Monster Hunter Wilds Limited Edition controller. Once again, as it's a Japan exclusive, it means it has the Japanese writing as well as English on the box, and it has the Monster Hunter Wilds logo down here at the bottom. As for the controller, well, this looks like it started its life as a volcanic red controller. At least when comparing the two side by side, you can see how similar the colours are. Otherwise, it has a silver print on both handles and on the touchpad, which is quite a nice subtle design. But then if you look really closely, you can see there is a second design underneath that. It's almost like a glossy finish that you can only see as you turn the controller. It's probably one of the most understated designs that we've had today. The Midnight Black range then got an update in February 2025 with the Black Edge controller. So this now means we have 3 different edge colours to pick between, but this one came with a black carry case instead of the white one and a fully blacked out DualSense edge. All of the other features and specs remain exactly the same, but it now looks a lot more stealthy like this. But then alongside that, we also got the Midnight Black PlayStation Portal. Same deal with that really, it's exactly the same as the original Portal, but now in a fully blacked out shell. Now, out of them all, this is the one that I use the most, and it's definitely my favourite colour. I think it feels a lot more like a handheld, but what do you think? Which of these 3 would you pick? Would you go for the 30th, or the white, or the Midnight Black? Then The Last of Us got its very own limited edition controller, which isn't a surprise really, because it's one of the best story games that we've had on PlayStation. Also, they've definitely made enough remakes and remastered of these games that it was about time we got a controller. And taking a closer look at the controller itself. So on first glance, you can see this is a 2-tone black and white controller complete with the white thumbsticks. But you'll notice it's absolutely covered in these small glossy black icons. But these aren't just random images, these are the trophy icons from the games. There's also 3 white ones here which represent the wolves, the fireflies and a moth. And then if we turn this around, on the back there's the Last of Us logo. So yeah, if you're a fan of the game or even a fan of just the TV show, this is a great controller to have in the collection. Next up, and a game that I'm still playing through today, is the Death Stranding 2 controller, which only dropped in June 2025. So the controller looks like it's a midnight black colour with these orange details and images on it. There's the drawbridge slogan and text on the touchpad, and if you look really closely at the rear, you can see the Death Stranding 2 on the beach logo as I move this around. But I'll be honest, I think this could have been better. For a game that looks as nice as it does, I feel like a lot more effort could have been put into this design. A bit like we had on the PS4, that translucent DualShock 4 controller was just something else. But what do you think? Do you think this does a good job of representing the game? But then on top of the official PlayStation controllers that we've had quite a few licensed or third-party controllers that I've used over the years. Now these are the Edge competitors, the Scuff Reflex, and they offer very similar features like instant triggers and mappable rear buttons, but you can customize how they look. Now I've got a few of these, with the most recent ones being the Warzone and the Black Ops 6. Now personally, I actually prefer using these over the Edge for the extra paddles on the back and the mouse-like triggers on the top. Now if you do grab one of these for yourself, I have put a discount link and code down below. But this has to be the weirdest PS5 controller of them all, the Yorkshire Tea controller, because drinking tea is a way of life when you live in England. But seriously, when I saw this up for sale about 2 years ago, I had to grab it, mainly because I do live in Yorkshire. But then we also have the Revolution Pro, which gives you asymmetrical thumbsticks if you'd rather play with the Xbox layout on the PS5. Or the Victrix BFG, which you can either use like a normal controller, or by using the included screwdriver, you can swap the parts out and either rotate the modules like this, or use it with a fight pad, which is a really cool idea. Now, although I currently have every single PS5 controller, there are a couple of others that are already planned for 2025. So we've got an Astrobot version 2 controller, which looks exactly the same, but now has closed eyes on the touchpad. We then have 2 Ghost of Yotei controllers, one in black and white and the other in gold and white. These will likely launch around the same time as the game in October. PlayStation then recently announced the Flex Strike controller, which is a fight stick pad to be used with fighting games like Tekken and Mortal Kombat, but that isn't set to release until 2026. But what other controllers would you like to see? I would quite like to see a Ratchet & Clank controller, as I can imagine the colours looking awesome, or even a Gran Turismo controller with the two-tone blue and red vibe, maybe even one for Horizon. But I would be amazed if we don't get a GTA 6 controller next year. Anyway, here is every single controller that PlayStation officially made over the last 5 years. Which one of these is your favourite? Mine is close because I really like the God of War and the Astrobot controllers, but then the 30th anniversary is just a timeless classic look. Now drop your favourite controller in the comments and I'll give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. Well, thanks for watching, please like, subscribe and follow me everywhere. Until next time.